Hi guys, you're welcome back to Valmich Fit. So this is the continuation video or the part 2 of how to make this beautiful and stylish Bubu dress. If you're seeing this for the first time, I have the part 1 of the cutting and part of the sewing of this Bubu dress. So you might want to check that on my channel so you do not get lost. For now, we'll just go ahead to continue from where we stopped on the part 1. If you notice, I am using the pieces cut out from the side seam of this dress to do all this, like the placket and for the collar. So I do not have enough fabric, so that is why I'm using all this. And this is also 3 inches, so I'm trying to make use of the fabric I have left and available. Now I'm going to take the measurements that I took for the round neckline and also add seam allowance for sewing it. So from the top, I would mark 2 inches downwards and mark it down because I want this collar to be 1 inch wide after sewing. So I'm going to mark 2 inches downwards and just create like a slight curve to the end of this center. The next thing I'm going to do from this part here, I'm going to mark 2 inches upwards. I'm just trying to make use of what I have and at the same point trying to create a very nice curve for the collar. So guys, our collar is set and I will be cutting 2 pieces of this. So I'm done with cutting this piece out, and this collar is going to be like a bishop neckline style. That is what this collar is going to be. So I have the first piece out. I'm going to cut out the second piece. After that, I'm going to fuse this with a lightweight interface or paper stay if that is much easier to understand. Now I'm going to trim the other piece, and please do not forget this edge. I'll be trimming off this edge to create that bishop neckline. So this is what I have. I'll also fuse this one with interface. After that, on one of the fabric, I'll fold in 1/2 inch like this with my pressing iron. So guys, I'll take this away to my pressing table to work on. I'll bring it back to show you, and this is what I have right here. This is the top of it and this is the lower side of the collar. I folded this in with 1/2 inch. Now I'm going to place these both pieces together with right sides facing each other, and the first part I'll be stitching will be from the side to the top like this. I'm going to start from this point, leaving about 1/4 inch from the folded part. Don't worry, this is going to be more understandable later when I start sewing. So if you cannot get this sewing accurately, you can just go ahead to mark your 1/2 inch all the way down to the other side. So I'm going to mark where I am starting my sewing from. That is the point I marked down on the folded part. Now I have sewn this together according to how I marked it, and I'm going to trim off the excess because this is the top of my collar. We do not need that much excess around there, so I'm trimming that off. And after doing that, I'm going to trim off 1/4 inch from the other side of the collar. You can see what I'm doing right here. The next thing is to flip this over to the right side of my fabric. So the reason why I went up by 1/4 inch on the side before I started sewing is because when I flip this to the right side and after trimming on the lower part of this collar, I'm going to have 1/2 inch still after trimming off 1/4 inch from the lower side of this collar. And when fixing this collar to the neckline of your dress, you would understand properly why this was done. So I'm going to poke the edges of my collar out so that it will look really nice. After doing that, I'll take it to my pressing table to press it together. So this is what we'll be expecting after pressing with my pressing iron. You can see how it looks like right here. So at this point, I have pressed the collar like you can see here. Now it's time for me to stitch the collar to the neckline of this dress. I'm just going to lift this part open like this, to the point where I started sewing on the collar and use that ½ inch to stitch the neckline of my Bubu dress. I'll be sewing this collar from the outside to the inside. That means I'll place the right side of my collar to the right side of the neckline of this dress. So I have gone ahead to do that, and this is how it looks like right now. The next step I'm going to take is either trim off the excess from the sewing, or I'll just notch the seam allowance open, so it will be very easy for me to flip this over and top stitch the collar when it is time for me to do it. Why I'm doing this is to avoid all those squeeze on my collar neckline, so it will come out looking nice and neat. Now I am just going to tuck this under my machine needle and top stitch this collar to my Bubu dress. So I have gone ahead to do that. I am set with this collar. I am done sewing it, and this is how it looks like right now. I'm just going to cut off the excess thread from it, and this is what I have. So guys, this collar is actually very easy to do. It's very easy to cut, and it is also very easy to stitch to your dress. So this is what it looks like. What is left here is just to put in your press button. Though we are not done with this dress yet, but we are just done with sewing in the collar. Even though I had little pieces to make this collar, it still came out pretty nice, as you can see right here. So let's move to the next step, which is sewing the puff sleeve for this Bubu dress. Now let's get started with it. Right here, our placket is done, our collar is done, and I've also pressed with my pressing iron. If you do not know how to make this placket for your dress, please check my last post. I have it all there. Now let's go to making the puff sleeves. So I'm going to spread out my sleeve area open like this, and the next I'm going to do is to fold first with ½ inch, like what you see right here. After doing that, I'm going to fold with ½ inch. You can do 1 inch, it is fine, so that your elastic band can go in and out properly and you will not be having any tightness around your arm. You know, the elastic band I'm using is about ½ inch, so after inserting this to my sleeve, I'll still have some space in there. So this is the elastic band that I'll be using, and the length I'm going to be cutting out is 13 inches. I am cutting out 13 inches for this elastic band because I don't want too much tightness around the arm, knowing that the sleeve opening is really wide, which when folded in two measures 18 inches. So I'll be cutting out two of these bound strips, and this is what I have. I'm cutting out 13 inches of two pieces. So this is what I have, and after sewing it, this is the size I'll get around my arm. Now I have inserted the elastic band into the tiny space created for it round my sleeve. So the next step I am going to take is to close my side seam. So before I close the side seam, I'm going to adjust this end that has the elastic band end and then sew with about 1 inch from the sleeve area downwards to the end of my dress. The reason why you're leaving 1 inch space for sewing is because we're going to be inserting strings later on to form that style you see at the side of the Bubu dress. So guys, I'm done with my sleeves and also done with closing up the side seam. You can see how it looks like right now, and also you can see the puff sleeve is not looking too tight to give you discomfort around your arm. Another thing I did after closing up my side seam was to hem the lower part of the dress. You can see what I did there. So after closing your side seam, the next step to take is to hem the lower part of your dress. After all this, please go ahead and press with your pressing iron. So the next we're going to be doing here is to form the part where we'll be inserting our strings, that is our drawstrings, for the style line of this Bubu dress. So I'm going to be folding. Remember we left 1 inch space for this, so I'm going to fold in ½ inch or 1/4 inch, and then I'll close it up. So I'm going to show you guys the strings I'll be inserting to this. These are the strings I'll be inserting. This fabric is different from this Ankara I have right here. Because I do not have enough Ankara fabric for it, I had to use another fabric to make the drawstrings. So now I'm going to notch this underarm right here. I'm going to notch this space so that I don't have any dragging under the sleeves, and also for me to be able to insert the drawstrings neatly and easily. That is the main reason why I am notching this area open. You can see how I notched it. Please do not cut into your sewing, just notch close to your stitch. So after doing that, I am then going to fold the spacing for my drawstring. Before doing that, this is what you have to do. You have to put in your drawstring and determine the length you are going to cut out for it. So I'm going to cut out about 5 inches after the length of my dress. So just place your drawstring in and make sure your drawstring is coming out a bit from the top, that's from the notched area. Then measure it down. So I'll be adding just 5 inches extra. You can make it up to 6 if you wish, but I'll make mine 5 inches extra because I don't want the strings to be all over on the floor after sewing. Now I'm going to cut these strings in 4 places, 2 for the left and 2 for the right side. Now let's get to fixing in this string. What you are going to do is place your string into this space, push it into the end, and then fold with either half or quarter of an inch. Please make sure when you are stitching, you don't stitch on the strings inside the space. First, you close the top so that your string does not move out, and after doing that, you start to stitch this down to the end of the dress. As you're stitching, you're folding in the space for the string, and in doing that, you're also pushing in your string to avoid stitching it together with your dress. So you want to leave your strings free in between, because if you stitch the string to the dress, you will not be able to draw the string as you should. Now I'll take this to my sewing machine to work on, and with this piece of fabric I'll show you guys how I achieved that string for the dress. So first, the weight of this fabric is about 2 inches, but you can make yours 1.5 if you want the string to be really tiny. So you fold in ½ inch side to side and then fold again like this. So this is the size I used for this Bubu dress, but only that I used a different fabric, and this is actually a chiffon fabric that I used for my drawstrings, but this is the size that I used for the dress. You can see how it looks like, but because it's a chiffon fabric, it is very light, so that's the difference. And now I have inserted my drawstrings into my dress, and I am completely done with sewing this dress. So guys, remember this Bubu dress is a 2 to 3 in 1 Bubu dress style that you can wear as a long Bubu dress, you can wear it as a 3/4 Bubu dress, and you can also wear it as a short Bubu top. So that is how much look you can create out of this one Bubu dress. Now I'm going to show you guys this drawstring side for you to see how it looks like when you make it into a Bubu top. Trust me guys, this dress came out really beautiful, both on my working table right here and also on my client. I'm totally done with making this dress, but then the last thing I'll be doing is to fix in my press button. But guys, what do you think about this dress? Will you be trying this out? Now to the last, which is fixing my press button. So on this space, I'm going to be fixing about 4 press buttons to the placket. So this is the press button I'm using. This is actually a plastic press button. You have the one that is made of steel, but this is a plastic one. I'm using this plastic one because using that one made out of steel, after a time, after washing your dress, it starts to rust and it stains your dress. So I'm going to avoid using that one, especially on white fabric. So now I have the both parts for the press button. One will be placed on the right side and the other will be placed on the left side. So this one that looks like it has a pin on it will be placed on the left side of the placket, while the other part of it that looks like it has a little hole will be placed on the right side of the placket. All you need to do is to use your hand needle and thread to tack this both piece of the press button to the sides of your placket, and after doing that you pin them together. I'm going to be tacking in 4 press buttons to this dress, one on the left and one on the right side, starting from the collar. After doing all that, we'll be totally done with making this very beautiful Bubu dress. So again, if you find this tutorial interesting and helpful to you, please do not forget to subscribe to this channel if you're not yet subscribed, and also like this video for more people to be able to get to see this and learn for themselves as well. Alright guys, the next clips will be showing you how to rock this beautiful bubble dress in different styles, and I'll see you guys in my next tutorial. Bye.